Alright guys, we're going to show you guys all the tools that we use and how we use them. So what we do is swing trading, which is we're trying to capture big moves that happen across many weeks and many months. We only use high time frame charts such as daily, weekly, and monthly. Our main trade ideas and levels are primarily from the higher time frames. So we use 4 tools. First tool is support and resistance, then trend lines, certain candlestick patterns, and head and shoulders. This is an example of how we use support and resistance. So essentially, there's 2 ways of using it. One way is a bounce. If we see on a high time frame chart that price has previously bounced off of a zone, we know that is likely to happen again. So if price comes back to the zone, we can start to make a position and try to go for another bounce. However, if we see that price has broken below the zone, we know to get out of the position and we know to start looking for trades in the opposite direction. The next tool that we use is trend lines. Trend lines are incredibly powerful on the higher time frame chart because they tell us overall in what direction the market is going. So we use it similarly as to how we use zones. We look for bounces off of trend lines and we look for breaks of trend lines to enter positions in the opposite direction. The next pattern that we use is head and shoulders. This is one of my favorite tools because you can see it developing in real time and you can see the trend changing in real time. This curving pattern is essentially what we see, and we see bounces off of the neckline. When the neckline finally breaks, that's an indication that trend has changed. And that's a signal for us to go into a position and target this measured move. Most people use head and shoulders only upon a confirmation of a break of the neckline. However, I like to see the head and shoulders developing early and start to build a position. So for example, over here on this trade, I was building a position on the right shoulder. As I saw this head and shoulders developing, I started taking longs here. And then when we finally do confirm, we're positioned really well and ahead of everyone else who just got in there. We're already deep in profits. So the strategy is very simple, but it takes experience, it takes discipline, it takes careful monitoring of the market, and it takes proper execution. You have to stick to your rules and you have to control your emotions. Regardless of which strategy you use, if you're not disciplined and you're not monitoring properly, you're over monitoring or you're under monitoring, and you don't execute when it's time, if you don't do these things, no strategy will work. In swing trading, the advantage that we have is we have a lot of time to think. Moves take weeks and months to happen. So we can make very careful, measured, calculated moves. And then when it's time, we have a high degree of confidence and a high degree of certainty in our trade.